Hello friends, and welcome back to another video on how to protect and bolster your mental health during COVID. My name is Austin Holloman. I'm a mental health therapist at Mary Center in Washington, D.C. And today we're going to be talking about a subject that has come up with a lot of my clients and a lot of my loved ones during COVID, which is sleep disturbances and insomnia. A lot of folks are experiencing trouble sleeping right now, and you can imagine why. We all have a lot going on. This is a very stressful time. And so I wanted to share with you some information first in general on sleep and insomnia in older adults, because that's my specialty. And then I'm going to share some tips for people of all ages that can be used to get ahead of insomnia and to try and get a better night's sleep. We're going to start this presentation off with a little test of your knowledge. What percentage of older adults do you think get an adequate amount of sleep each night? What percent are getting enough sleep? It's less than 50%. Now, what percentage of older adults do you think experience insomnia symptoms at least a few nights per week? 44%. And we know that those numbers are underreported. So realistically, even more than 44% of older adults are experiencing difficulty sleeping at least a few nights a week. And as we know, COVID is exacerbating those numbers. So an even higher percentage of folks, older adult or of all ages, really are having increased experiences of insomnia. So with older adults, there are a few biological factors that might be contributing to why less than 50% are getting an adequate amount of sleep each week. One of those things is HGH, which is human growth hormone. And that's a hormone that our body naturally produces, but it produces less as we age because we're not growing as rapidly as we are for, say, as a teenager during our puberty years. So as our bodies are producing less of this hormone, it might be contributing to difficulty sleeping as we're older. Also, if you have any medical conditions that cause chronic pain, it can make it challenging to fall asleep if you're not comfortable. If you are exercising less as you get older due to maybe a loss of some mobility or certain abilities, that can make it hard to sleep if you haven't expended enough energy during the day. And a lack of sunlight, so not getting out enough, not getting enough sun. The sun is really important in producing hormones that actually remind our body of its natural biological clock, and it keeps us regulated, which helps us sleep at nighttime. So if we're not getting out and getting enough sunlight, that can contribute to insomnia. Or if we're not having enough social activity, so other things to sort of expend energy during the day, we have too much energy when we lay down, and it can make it hard for our bodies to calm and fall asleep. And then a really big one, especially right now with COVID, is stress and anxiety. It's the number one reason people have trouble sleeping. What we're seeing with COVID right now is that it's sort of the perfect storm for insomnia. And what we mean by that is not only are you getting outside less, so you're getting less sunlight exposure, you're exercising less, expending less energy during the day, you're also changing your routine. And that can really alter your body's natural clock and can make it hard to fall asleep. Also, we have a lot of increased anxiety, and because of that, a lot of our bodies are operating in more of a fight or flight mode. And that's going to release hormones that make it hard for us to fall asleep. So if we're combining all of these things together, as is happening for most of us during COVID, it can lead to a lot of folks having insomnia, even if you've never experienced it before. There's a really strong relationship between our mental health and sleep, which is why anxiety can keep us up. It can cause racing thoughts and worries, again, activating that fight or flight response in our body, which produces hormones that can keep us up, such as adrenaline. Also, we know that if we're experiencing depression, for example, it can send you on the other end of sleep where you're drained of your energy and you're actually oversleeping. And if you're sleeping a lot during the day, because you have low energy due to depression, it can make it hard to fall asleep and keep a regular sleep schedule. We then know that if we are not sleeping as well, that can also increase our risk of depression and anxiety. So it's a two-way relationship. If we're anxious or we're depressed, it can affect our sleep. And if our sleep is affected, it can increase our likelihood of experiencing depression or anxiety. So it's really important that we figure out how to break this cycle. And this is the cycle I'm talking about. So if you're feeling worried, you're stressed, it keeps you up at night, you get a lack of sleep. And if you're not sleeping well, you wake up tired, you're not doing the daily things that need to be done with as much energy or focus, and you could find it hard to get just basic activities of living every day completed. That can make you feel frustrated or angry or even maybe bad about yourself, that you're not able to function as well as you would want to. And then that can in turn create more feelings of worry or stress, which can keep you up, and it's just this whole cycle. So we're really going to focus on techniques to break this cycle where we're either preventing ourselves from feeling as much worry and stress before bed, or if we are feeling worry or stressed, which sometimes it's very natural for us to feel that way, and we might not be able to prevent it, we can figure out how to keep those feelings from leading to insomnia. So how can we deal with those feelings in a way that allows us to sleep well? So here are some general rules for good sleep, and this is for anyone, not just older adults. Getting enough daylight, letting your body know this is our regular routine, we're on our normal biological clock, we're out in the sunlight, and then it's better able to know when it's time to go to bed. Exercising enough during the day, and if you're going to exercise at night, choosing relaxing exercises such as stretching or yoga instead of more intense exercise, because when we exercise, endorphins and adrenaline, some of these hormones are released that are really energizing. So if we do those activities too close to bedtime, it can keep us up. Limiting your caffeine and nicotine intake, no more than 6 hours before bed, and obviously in general, limiting that as much as you can. Using your bed for sleep or sex only, so try not to read in bed or watch TV in bed. Just letting your body know that our bedtime is for sleep or for sex, and that's it. It can help your body get into a better sleep routine. No technology. This is an hour before bed, but really if you can limit in the hours leading up to bed your screen usage, the blue light from your screen actually keeps you up longer. So limiting that is really important. If you do nap during the day, keeping them short and napping earlier as opposed to later can help you to feel more tired and ready for bed when it's time. Trying to create a sleep schedule and stick to it so that your body gets used to falling asleep at the same time every night, sort of training your body to know when it's time for bed. And then moving bedroom clocks out of view can be really helpful so that you're not staring at the clock and worrying about the amount of time that it's taking you to fall asleep. The golden rule for having symptoms of insomnia is that if you can't fall asleep within roughly 30 minutes of laying down, get out of bed. Don't lay there. Don't, ruminate, worry about the amount of time it's taking you to go to sleep. You need to get out of bed and you need to go and do something soothing or something that's going to help you feel a little bit more tired. And when you're feeling tired, when you've done something else for at least an hour, then you can try laying down again. So now we're going to talk about a few practical things that you can do before bed to prepare yourself, to calm yourself, and to try and prevent some of those feelings of anxiety or worry from keeping you up. One that's really easy and really effective is taking a warm bath or shower. Our senses are really going to be so important to calming our mind, and warm water not only calms the body, but it has a way of soothing your emotional state as well, and that can be really helpful before bed to sort of get into a good, stable, and sort of warm place before you're laying down. One thing that's really important is to pay attention to what's causing you to be up and worried. So Lately, the news is something I'm hearing a lot of people report is making it hard for them to sleep. So if you are consuming, especially COVID-related material or any sort of news that's upsetting or worrisome, try and do it in the morning and try and limit the amount of time that you're consuming that media. So 1 hour in the morning, try not to do it at night because it might cause you to worry and prevent you from sleeping. Thinking about when you are talking to family on the phone, for example, trying not to take late night calls can be helpful because, we all have those family members or those friends that like to call, perhaps late at night, and talk about what's worrying them, what's on their mind. And that's not necessarily something that we need to hear right before we're trying to go to bed. Also, if you're worried about a to-do list for the day or things that you didn't get done, writing that down can be really helpful in getting it out of your mind onto the paper and freeing some space for you to fall asleep. Along that same lines, keeping something by your bed where you can write down your worries. So a journal or a worry box or a prayer box. And that way you can take all of the worries that are floating around your mind, put them on the paper, and then set them aside. I'm sure we've all heard the expression counting sheep. And the idea behind that is to focus on something other than all of the thoughts going around your head and forcing your body to breathe and calm. So either counting, breathing deeply while listening to calming music, or trying some different meditative breathing practices such as 3-6-9, which is breathe in for 3 breaths, hold at the top, breathe out for 3, and then go up to 6 breaths in and out, and then 9. And lengthening your breath is a really good way to tell your body we're safe, nothing's wrong, and we can relax. Reading a book can be really helpful. I suggest poetry or short stories or religious text, something where it's not sort of long chapters and it can be easy for you to read a short bit of whatever it is and then put it down. And then using soothing scents or teas. So candles, although if you're going to be falling asleep, it's probably safer to use a diffuser. Scents that are really good for calming are eucalyptus and lavender. And then herbal teas can be really helpful for encouraging healthy sleep. So chamomile is the first one that comes to my mind as a naturally calming and relaxing tea. One thing you can do during the day, and preferably not super close to bedtime, is just talking with someone about what's on your mind. Sometimes we just need to get it off our chest, share what we're worrying about, and that can really go a long way in helping us feel a little bit more calm and relaxed, just because we've gotten those thoughts out and they're not stuck inside of us. And then you need to know when to seek treatment. So whenever you talk to your doctor, always mention if you're having trouble sleeping, especially if you're taking a lot of medication as an older person. Medications can have a way of impacting sleep, and there might be some sort of medical reasons behind it. So always talk with your doctor. And if your insomnia symptoms are persisting more than about 2 to 4 weeks, you should consider seeking treatment. Now, during this global pandemic, I would say, give yourself grace. I think a lot of us are experiencing insomnia that maybe have not experienced it before. And so that 2 to 4 week time period might not be as relevant right now. But if it's persisting and it's starting to impact your ability to function during the day, that's when I think it's time to seek further treatment or help. And treatment could look like a lot of things. So there's sleep aiding drugs that can be used and prescribed by a doctor, or even something like talk therapy, or making sure that you're meeting with a spiritual leader regularly, just someone that you can talk through your worries and your stressors during this time. And that way you don't feel like you're having to keep it all in. And those things can go a really long way in helping you feel more freed at night to fall asleep and stay asleep. No matter your age, I just want you to know that if you're experiencing trouble sleeping right now, it's completely normal. There are unprecedented numbers of folks reporting sleep disturbances and insomnia, many of which this is the first time in their life that they're experiencing these challenges. We have a lot going on right now. We all have a lot running through our minds on a given day. And I just want you to know that it's completely normal. So take some time, think about your behaviors, what you're doing before bed, think about what's worrying you or what might be keeping you up, and then make a plan. Think about, of all the tips and tricks that I shared today, which resonate with you, which seem easy for you to do, and try them out for a few nights. See if it doesn't help you get a more sound sleep. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Be well. See you next week.